All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be doing simplifying expressions and combining like terms. So before we get going on this, we actually need to have a joke for the day, and that is this. So the last time we had a joke, it was, what did Tarzan say when he saw the elephants coming? And today is going to be, what did Jane say? So let's go ahead and get going on this. So first off, let's just talk some logistics here. First off, we have words known as coefficient, and we have words that would be constants, okay? And we have things called terms and like terms. First off, let's just talk about a term. A term is anything in between an addition sign, okay? So in essence, this 4x is a term. This is a term, this 3. This minus 7x, you could add the opposite, and that'd be negative 7x. This minus 8 could be add the opposite, and your term would be negative 8, okay? So we have a bunch of terms there. Now we also have something called like terms. Like terms is when they have the exact same variable part. So in this case, the 4x has an x on it, and this 7x is negative 7x or minus 7x has an x on it. So these will be like terms. The 3 and the negative 8 or the minus 8 do not have any x's with them, so therefore they would be like terms. We will end up combining like terms. Now, let's talk about two other words. You have a word called coefficient. A coefficient is the number part in front of a variable. So 4 and negative 7 would be coefficients. You also have words such as constant. Constant are going to be numbers without any variables. So the positive 3 and the negative 8. Now, one last thing before we get going on this. The sign that's in front of the number causes it to be positive or negative. In this case, this 3 is positive. There's nothing in front of the 4x, it's going to be positive. This 7x is a negative or a minus 7x. Either one is the same thing. The 8 is either a negative 8 or a minus 8, however you want to look at it. So, now that we've covered those logistics, all we have to do is simplify this expression. So all we do is really combine like terms. Our like terms would be 4x, and this is a negative 7x or minus 7x. Okay, I don't care how you want to see that. A minus and a negative are actually the exact same thing. So when we do 4x minus 7x, we can see that as adding the opposite. That'd be different signs, subtract. So you'll end up getting a negative 3x. Then you still have a positive 3 and a minus 8 or a negative 8. 3 minus 8, or if you make that add the opposite, 3 plus a negative 8, that'd be different signs, subtract. That's going to be a negative 5. So some people will write just a minus 5, which is the best way to write it, because a minus 5 is the same thing as a negative 5. Or somebody may end up writing plus a negative 5. It doesn't matter, but I really want it just as a minus 5 instead of plus a negative 5. It's just less sloppy, and we'll talk about that a lot in class. So your simplified expression is negative 3x minus 5. You can't combine the negative 3x and the minus 5 because they are not like terms. The 5 does not have an x with it. All right? So that's actually your answer. Today we're just simplifying the expression. So let's look at the next one. On this one right here, we have 6a minus 3a plus 8. So guys, on this one right here, you go ahead, 6a minus 3a. When you combine your like terms, 6a minus 3a or negative 3a, when you combine these right here, that if you look at it as add the opposite, it's still different sign subtract. 6 minus 3 is 3a. And then you still have this plus 8 that you can't combine with anything because it doesn't have a like term. So this is your final answer. Next one. On this one, again, we go ahead and combine like terms. So let's find our like terms. Sorry, I actually made a big goof on that. This W here, I want it to be an X. I'm sorry. That just was a goof by me. Sorry, guys. I apologize for that. Happens. Anyways, so guys, the like terms here would be 7.2x and the negative 9x. So when I look at that, that is actually going to be a different sign subtract if I do add the opposite. And so 9 minus 7.2, 9.0 minus 7.2, I line up the decimals, I borrow. That's going to end up being 1.8, and the bigger sign is negative, so it's a negative 1.8x. Then I still have a negative 3 and a positive 4.1. Again, that's different sign subtract. So you do 4.1 minus 3.0, line up those decimals, and you get 1.1. The bigger sign's positive, so we'll put plus 1.1 because it's positive. This will be your final answer because negative 1.8x and 1.1 cannot be combined. They are not like terms. Let's look at another. On this situation, guys, if you see a situation where there is distributive property, you have to go ahead and do that first. Then you can combine like terms. So in this case, we would actually go ahead and distribute this 8 to everything inside of the parentheses. Okay? So it's 8 times d, that's going to be 8d. And then you guys can do 8 times a negative 3. 8 times a negative 3 is negative 24, so just put minus 24. And then you still have plus 4 to finish up. The like terms in this case are going to be the negative 24 and the positive 4. Negative 24 plus 4 is going to be a negative 20. So your final answer will be 8d minus 20. Next one. On this one, I just want to point out that even though this is p to the second power, it doesn't really change anything as far as combining like terms. Since I have a p to the second power, this is really a 1p to the second power, and I have a negative 3p to the second power. These are like terms. So in this case then, 1 minus 3 is actually a negative 2p to the second power. Then I still have this plus 8r, doesn't have any like terms, so I just move that down. And then I have this plus 7 that doesn't have any like terms, so I move that straight down. And that's my answer. So that is it for today. The joke for the day was this. Well, first off, let's go back. It was, what did Tarzan say when he saw the elephants coming? And that was, here comes the elephant. Now, to understand what Jane said, you actually have to go back to another joke that I've told, and that's the difference. What's the difference between an elephant and a plum? And that is their color. That's the difference, okay? So now the joke is, what did Jane say when she saw the elephants coming? She said, here comes the plums! She was colorblind. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I hope you make the connection there. Anyways, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. See you later.